Hello and welcome to the next episode of Build the Millennium Falcon, a special video this one because we are going to be looking at painting techniques for your Falcon. Yes, I finally bitten the bullet and I decided to do a painting video. I just want to say from the start that painting isn't my thing. Very much an amateur when it comes to painting, so bear with me on that if there are parts which you don't agree with, the more professional of you out there. This is just what I did to make the Falcon look like how I wanted it to look like. And the first thing I started with was the grey and red panels that you see quite predominantly on the Falcon. So as you can see, here I am masking off the areas for the grey panels. I'm using some Tamiya tape to really get a crisp line, really making sure that I push down quite hard so that there is no kind of overspill from the airbrush, anything like that. And then after it's done that, I will cover the non-sprayed areas with brown paper. I really want to make sure that no paint goes where it is not meant to go and keep it as controlled as I can. So after I've done all that, it's time to come and spray it with the airbrush. Now the eagle-eyed amongst you would have noticed that I was masking off the grey panelled areas, but I'm actually painting the red ones. That's purely because I forgot to film me recording the grey ones, but it's the same. It's the same thing, it's just with a different colour paint. So I'm just painting the red areas here. It looks like I'm painting them really close. It looks like I'm very close to the model with the airbrush. That's not the case at all. It's just that the angle looks like that. Also, I decided to paint the red after the grey because if grey is mixed in with the red paint, even though I did clear out the airbrush, it wouldn't be as bad. But if the red had mixed in with the grey, then that would have been worse. So after I have sprayed it, I clear out my airbrush, I leave it to dry, and then I take off the paper, which I'm going to do now, and we'll have a look at what it looks like when I've done that. So here's the Falcon all finished with those red and grey panels all painted on, and I'm just going to show you pictures now of what they look like close up. As you can see, like, this area is fantastic, it came out really well, but on some of the others you do get some paint spillage, especially on the red. I did find that the red paint was a bit more watering than the grey, which is probably what's caused those splodges, and also maybe I was a little too close in hindsight, so it did go under the paper and under the tape. But it is easily resolved. All you do is you get some paint thinner on a piece of fabric and you just rub it out, basically just like it was a pencil mark. So I'm just going over all the areas here that I don't want to be painted. I'm using my fingernail to get up the really tough parts. For the red paint, I had to be extra careful because I didn't want any of the red paint staining the Falcon. If the grey stained the Falcon, that wouldn't be the worst thing, but I didn't want a rouge looking Falcon when it was all done. And here it is when it's all finished, looking very, very nice, very crisp lines after that little bit of work. Ready for the next lot of painting. Okay, so the next thing I did was add a bit of weathering around the cutouts just to make them pop a little bit more. I'm actually using the Blaster Streaks paint by D.O.A, and in fact all the paints that I use with the airbrush were from the TrackPads D.O.A Star Wars paint line, which they have up and going. So go and get them, I really recommend them. The colours are perfect and the paints really work well with the airbrush. And then of course I just take away the kind of paper that I use to protect the cutouts to make sure that none of that effect hits them. And the effect is really, really nice. I'm very happy with how that turned out. I also added the same colour to the engine parts at the back of the Falcon, but I didn't really like the colour. I think they should be a darker black, and I don't have a darker black paint to use with the airbrush. So I'm going to have to wait till I get that before I do any more with these back parts. And also, as you can see, all the holes are here for the extra add-ons that are going to come. So I'm actually going to wait for this back panel till all the add-ons are on, and then I'm going to do a full paint job of this back panel. And the good thing about that is the back panel is removable so that you can get to the circuit board, so there'll be no kind of issues with doing that at a later stage. So the next thing I did was I added a black wash to the Falcon. I really wanted to make the panel lines pop, and I really wanted to make all the features of the Falcon, the extra molded on parts, pop as well. So that's why I'm using a very stark black, and I just rub off the excess with a cloth, making sure that it streaks from the edge of the Falcon to the center, because that's the way that the paintwork streaks on the original model. And when that's all rubbed off, it leaves kind of the black in the lines and the black paint around the features and really makes them stand out, looking very, very nice indeed. I then went on to add a little bit more detail on these vents with some black paint to make them stand out even more. And I really feel that, you know, the vents and the grille should be dirtier and darker than the rest of the Falcon. And I also added to that effect more just by adding a little bit more paint with the airbrush just around the vent there to give that scorched look, like some heat. Substantial amount of heat has gone through those vents. I also added the same blaster scoring paint onto the actual laser blast marks that we get on the Falcon. Again, to give that scorched look, like the lasers hitting the Falcon really did some damage to the bodywork, and I was very, very happy with the effect of that. Very simple to do and very effective, I feel. So the next thing I did is steal a technique that Steve Dimzo talked about in his official painting the Falcon videos. I cover a part of the Falcon with a post-it note, and then I very gently spray a darker shade to the bodywork of the Falcon, and when I pull up the post-it note you see that there is an extra kind of dirt mark left. This can either be used to add kind of fake panel lines or also give that dirty streak effect, which is the paint I am using here. Very, very simple technique, but it adds a lot of depth to the Falcon, adds some of the dirt that is missing just if you build it vanilla. Very, very nice technique. You can see here that I have actually taken the corner of the post-it onto the bodywork, an effect which I didn't like. So again, I just got some paint thinner on a bit of cloth and I just rubbed it out to leave that kind of crisp line without the right angle there. And then I went ahead and applied that to all of the Falcon. I'm just showing you kind of a section of the Falcon I've done. All over the Falcon there are these techniques being used, and I will show you the completed Falcon at the end of this video. Okay, so the next step I did was add the paint splatter effect, something else that I stole from Steve Dimzo. It wasn't going to be something I was going to do, but I'm really glad I did it because it really, really came out looking fantastic. To the naked eye from quite a far away, you can't actually see the paint splatters. I did it with kind of black paint and also with the blaster scoring paint to give that kind of different shade to each one. Yeah, very happy I did it. I will recommend doing it. It adds that little professional quality that's just needed for the Falcon, in my mind anyway. And also it's a nice cheaty way to make the Falcon look darker without actually taking away from the colour of the original pieces, something which I didn't do for the bottom of the Falcon. Now going back to look at the bottom of the Falcon and how I painted it after doing the top, I was very disappointed in it, to be honest. I think I did it far too dark. The paintwork was very streaky. I wasn't happy with it at all, until I realised that people aren't actually going to see the bottom of the Falcon that much, and actually it shows kind of my progression throughout the build, how I painted back then and how I paint now. So you know, it's okay. What all I did to the bottom of the Falcon really was add the kind of yellow paint that was missing. I matched up the mandibles to match the main body of the Falcon, which you can see me doing here, the streaky paintwork, and to make it darker. And also I added the splatter effect because I grew to love it. I did it a lot to the bottom of the Falcon, which you'll see in just a moment. But that's all I really did to the bottom of the Falcon. There wasn't really anything else that needed to be done. I just wanted to make sure there was some uniformity between the top and the bottom. Okay, so just to look at a few more things that I have painted up. First of all, we get the satellite dish. I've added a lot of weathering on the interior of it, and of course the kind of splattered effect on the back, and added rust on the joints because I thought, you know, it is going to get rusty. And on that side as well. And then of course very much like the cutout, so I've added a lot of black, not very neatly, I might go over that again, but a lot of black, a lot of dark for the insert, and then kind of more dirt around the outside, and then of course the grey paints which you showed me, which I had done earlier. So that is the satellite dish, and I just want to talk now just a little bit about the side add-ons. I'm not going to do much in the way of painting them. All I'm going to do really is add a very, very dark wash. And I've been using the black with the wash so much that the wash has actually gone black, which is okay, because on the whole I'm going to be using it to dirty stuff up now. So I'm just going to do this for every single add-on. Just to make the features stand out and to kind of stain the plastic like that. There we go. I'll just do this one a little bit closer to camera so you can actually see how it works. Especially on this grating, it's going to look fantastic. Just really made those lines pop. This bit here as well. just to make it nice and dark around the edges. Oh, look at that. Make all the pipes stand out, make all the add-ons stand out, all the grooves, all the circles like this part. Yeah. To stain the plastic black. Very nice, maybe a bit too much there, but just pick it up with the brush and use it elsewhere. And then add a bit of streaking, because it is, you know, the water effects, if there is any, are going to be going down, not across, because obviously they're upright. And there we go with that piece, like that. And again with this one, it's a very simple process, this. Ooh, look at that. So I'm not saying much. Like that. And then the final piece that I'll just show this off with, you know, you get the idea by now. Very nice. Very happy with that. And there we go. And all kind of side pieces from here on in, and the add-ons that go on them will be done in this way. Probably do it on the sprue rather than well, actually no, that's a lie. I will attach them, because then you get all those nice lines like that. And the final thing I just want to show, which I've done, is just the top of the cockpit. Made it a lot darker and added a very, very slight rust effect as well on those parts there. And I did notice that there were a lot of holes all over the Falcon, actually. A lot more holes for a lot more pipes. And when we do install those pipes, if you just do a little line of black wash to make the pipe stand out, you get a really, really, really nice effect. Very similar to this. I finished painting the main bulk of the Falcon now, just to show you what it looks like at the bottom. As you can see, I've added the yellow paint, which goes with the bottom. I've added the splatter effect. As you saw, I did the mandibles with the same streaky way that I did when I first did the bottom. And then if I just show you the top, you'll see here that this is the final kind of go over. Like I say, I will, when the pipes are added, I will add a black wash to the pipes to make them stand out. And also when I get the black paint for those engine streaks, it will make it look a little bit darker on the back as well. But I'll be showing you the back of the Falcon as we get those add-on parts and those engine parts. And that really is the end of my painting video. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, please let me know. A lot more to come, even though it is nearly finished on this Falcon. So stay tuned. Next week we'll be going to the regular issues and have a look at what comes in then. I'll also be exploring a few other things as well, which I'm doing with it. So until next time then, take care. Bye bye.